It's like you're
so fast.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah,
prepare
no.
for it.
I totally didn't think I was falling until my face was on the ground. So.
Yeah. That's how it goes, man. It's crazy. Is this his bag?
That was the one from that one.
Oh, you can keep it. Yeah, take it as an extra or something.
Thanks, guys.
Sweet. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. See you, man. All right, Mustachio. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I
So
don't.
this says 850 grams, but on mine it was saying much less, wasn't
750.
it? So this says 850. That's why it says
No, the internet says 750, so it's 750. No, we'll double check that then. That's interesting to check.
Get the scale out.
And 750, what size helmet is that?
Large.
They were measuring an extra small. No.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there may be that big of a difference between the. It'd be interesting to find a small Proframe over there and see how much that weighs. Find me a small Proframe. We'll start there. I think that's a good place to start is with Proframe helmet. I like the Proframe.
Do you really? So I'm pretty sure you like the stage a little more.
I like the stage. I like the Proframe when you turn the pads backwards.
The best way. So it sticks out there.
No, the other way. That forward. Did they read?
Is that set up correct?
No.
Because those were in the opposite direction.
No, that's backwards. That's backwards. All right, hold on. Right there. That's backwards. And that's the way to set them up. That's why it's set up that way, because that's how I like it.
Is it more comfortable or does it look better?
It's more comfortable. It doesn't push on your cheeks as much.
And it does look better. You look at it from the side.
Yeah, bring me the one with the proper setup. And then give me that one back. I don't know if you can, I don't know if that's seeable. Yeah, right there. But it's backwards. Yeah, backwards is the way to do it so it doesn't push on your cheeks. So interesting. I mean, I'm not a person who like safety rates helmets by any means, and I'm not giving anybody advice on how they should do with their safety. But from what my understanding is that the rating of helmets has not come from the liner at all. The rating of a helmet is strictly in the structure of the helmet. So even if you were to ride, let's say your liner fell out or whatever, or if you had a really big head and you couldn't fit into a double XL helmet, you could potentially remove all cushions and liners and the helmet would not lose its safety rating.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's true or not. So in theory.
As an untrained expert looking at it, you can see the types of foam that they use in the padding is a lot softer. It's really not going to offer protection in crash. It's just going to be for comfort when it's on the pad. It's going to have a very thick styrofoam versus a very soft collapsible foam like you would find in a camera case or something like that. So that really does
make sense.
What you say that.
It's interesting though, because you'd think, you know, like what I think about if it didn't have any of those comfort liners in there and stuff, then if you were just to remove all those and you got into you crashed, your head's just gonna hit the side of the helmet. But I guess that's what's happening in a crash anyways. That foam's just compressing and you're hitting the inside of the helmet.
Yeah, the foam compresses that That's why after one crash, a helmet's considered used in total. So the Fox Rampage helmet's going to be a little different. So the foam liner is going to be a little thicker. So this is obviously not a helmet that we would recommend that on. It's going to be a bit different.
I would almost think, let me move this light for you. And I wonder if when you do that, if this light can't
Pick up the helmet a bit better.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that looks good. Now flip it towards the cam. Oh yeah, that's so nice, dude. It was so dark in there. I couldn't see anything with the last helmet. That's beautiful. Wow, we are good at this. It's almost as if you went to school professionally for this.
Almost.
Yeah, and I feel like it's rubbing off on me. I feel like I feel like we've been able to figure this streaming stuff out pretty well. And you took off immediately once we started streaming. You went and rode bikes around and
I just
abandoned us.
for a couple weeks.
All right. Did you break a helmet while you were out there?
I did not break a helmet, but I may have broken a fork. I got a couple scratches on a stanchion. Thought I was gonna have to buy a new fork, but they didn't notice when I turned the bike in. So
How many? I'm gonna send them this. Let's not tell anyone where you were. You were at Whistler Bike Park.
Yep,
Different country. How many helmets have you broken? Would you say on a mountain bike?
This year I have broken 2 full face helmets on my mountain bike.
Yeah.
Didn't really have concussion either times. They were both really high end helmets, and they both broke, which really dissipated the energy of the impact. However, I've had some really bad high speed crashes on my dirt bike growing up racing, and my helmet did not crack, did not rupture or anything, but I felt significantly more concussed and had some memory loss. Where with these crashes with the mountain bike helmets, no missing memory, was always on it, never had any concussion symptoms. So even when I was evaluated by a doctor and neurologist, they didn't find anything wrong.
Dude,
no dumber than usual.
The thought just hit my head that like I don't know for sure if our mics are actually picking up any audio. Oh wait, they are. All right, we're good. Sorry. So yeah, I mean, I think people often talk about the difference. They're like, oh well, that helmet's $300. I'm not going to spend $300 on a helmet, which compared to moto world, mountain bike helmets are significantly cheaper than a moto helmet. You know, a nice moto helmet, you're going to pay what, $1,200 for it? You know, I think like Choi Lee's got the SC4. I've got an SC4. I think that's like a $600 helmet, something crazy like that.
A lot of money on helmets this year. So since I broke 2 helmets, I'm on my 3rd full face helmet of the year. So obviously that really does add up over time with the full face helmets starting at about $300. But looking back at it, I could not have been more happy that I went with the nicest helmet on the market, what fit me really well. Because when it came down to it, it's always cheaper to buy a new helmet or to buy a nice helmet than it is to have to go to a hospital for a couple of days.
Yeah, and I think I don't think people understand why you're paying why a helmet's $300 rather than $100. So maybe if we go through some of the reasons why. I mean, the obvious one that everybody I think points to is just ventilation in general. Yeah, the more expensive helmets are going to tend to have better ventilations and things along those lines. But ultimately, when it comes down to it's the structure of the helmet, it's what kind of foam are they using, you know, what kind of impacts is it meant for, and all that kind of stuff. So since we've already decided, I mean, like a big difference between a DH helmet and like an enduro or like a trail helmet you're going to wear every ride. I wear a full face helmet every time I ride a mountain bike. Do you wear full face every time you mountain bike?
Almost every time. Anytime I'm doing anything sketchy, I definitely want to throw a full face on.
I do.
Just going for a casual ride, I'll definitely wear my Fox Speedframe Pro. But I do definitely feel a little more exposed. I don't feel as confident, especially charging through some rocky sections. I'll definitely take it a little easier, knowing that my face is a little less protected.
Yeah, and I wish I would have preloaded the dude's video that was here in the beginning, into here because then I could play it. But he was going along. He was down at Shepherd. He wasn't in a particularly sketchy area. He just bought a Fox Proframe from us last week before in anticipation of going down to Shepherd Mountain, about an hour from here in Ironton. And he was just kind of going through some little rollers. One of the rollers kind of pushed him off to the side of the trail a little bit. His rear tire barely caught the edge. Hasn't rained here in weeks, so it's dusty. And the bike, he just lost his rear wheel, washed out completely on him, face immediately into the ground, right on his chin bar. That's this helmet.
He didn't realize he was crashing until his face hit the ground and his helmet actually broke in half in the chin bone.
Oh no!
So he couldn't even get his
There it is.
foot. He couldn't even get his arm down. Couldn't protect his face at all. If he had been wearing an open-face helmet with that crack right down the middle, he would have been really not having a good time. He would have probably been missing a couple of teeth.
For sure.
If he was lucky, at worst, he would have to get a jaw surgery or a nose reconstruction. And let's face it, the $300 helmet's going to be a lot cheaper than any of those.
Yeah, it's on our Instagram page here in November of 2021.
Because that turn that he crashed on, it's a pretty normal turn. However, I've ridden that turn a couple times, and I've nearly gone off in the same place that he went. When you just go through the turn, the gravity kind of carries you down past the berm, and it's really easy to end up beneath the rollers, especially with the loose stuff. Drop a wheel off, it could really happen to anyone, and it's really good to be prepared for when that does happen. So
I am going to promise the viewers that by the end of the stream, I will throw that video on here for everybody to check out. I'm working on it now.
See a good crash video here of one of our customers. So
Yeah.
that we sold last week in use last weekend, and the customer already came in for a replacement. So he was totally fine after the crash. It saved him, saved his face, and he's ready to go back out and ride again. He'd been wearing an open face helmet. He may have his jaw wired.
He did continue to ride that day as well. So he was able to still enjoy his ride. Maybe that wasn't the safest idea, but
When I cracked my helmet, I did stop riding for the day.
typically you would think that's probably good advice to, just see how things go. Maybe, go sit down, have somebody sit with you and eat some lunch or something.
Yeah,
Don't take a nap, just hang out for a bit first. Yeah.
Chill out. Don't try.
Yeah.
At home maybe would be the best idea.
If any blood's coming out of your ears, nose, anything like that, that's probably a bad sign. Go see a doctor.
I haven't had that, luckily. That sounds pretty nasty.
It is a good idea too. I mean, even if you feel fine, if you take a hard hit that cracks your helmet open, it's not a good idea to go see, or it's not a bad idea to go see a doctor if you have health insurance, which ideally, if you're mountain biking, you do, hopefully.
Yeah, even the smallest impact can really mess you up. Pretty much everyone here has had a really bad traumatic brain injury from biking some way or another.
Yeah.
Whether it's getting hit by a car or just crashing, doing big jumps. And I would really not want to think how badly I would be messed up if I did not have a helmet on when I had some of those crashes.
I'm going to download this video. It's just probably going to just like obliterate our, we're just going to just be completely foggy for the next 10 minutes.
Awesome. Cool. So we'll get started on some of the cheaper helmets that we have. So the cheapest option that we're going to have in the store with the MIP system, which is going to be a multi-directional impact protection system, which is going to allow the helmet to rotate on top of your head. It's going to be noticeable by the yellow tag on the back, and most helmets are going to have the MIP brain protection system tag on them. So it's going to be a real cool system that if you hit your head at an angle, it allows the helmet to rotate on your skull instead of directly transferring the angular force straight to your brain. So think of your brain like Jello. That's what it's going to do in a crash. So the Mainframe is going to start at $89 for the adult version and $79 for the youth version. So the adult version is going to have 3 different shell sizes, which is really going to make it, the big helmet's going to fit you well. But the small helmet's not going to be the same size as the larger helmet. It's going to be a smaller helmet, which is a really good option. It's going to have the MIPS liner, and it's going to have a visor. So as opposed to some of the higher end models like the Speedframe and Speedframe Pro, the visor is going to be fixed. You cannot adjust it. And really, the only downside to the helmet, other than that, just in terms of protection, is the polycarbonate liner is going to end kind of closer to the bottom of the helmet. Where on the Speedframe and Speedframe Pro, the polycarbonate layer is going to go all the way to the bottom. So this is going to leave a little bit of exposed foam here, which is going to leave it a little more susceptible to damage, just kind of bouncing around in your trunk or on an impact directly to it. However, that space is so small, you're not likely to run into any issues.
I'm pretty upset. I just tried playing that video and it wouldn't let me. But I can share our screen and that should allow it. But I got to share the whole screen, which is a bit concerning. So the Mainframe, though, just to kind of talk about that a little bit more, that's the helmet if you're going to be mountain biking. We recommend people start there. We also sell like a $40 helmet called the Chakra from Cali.
It's a helmet for hybrid riding, but
right.
It just doesn't cover the back of your head where you really need to have that covered if you're going off trail. If you want to get on some techie stuff and you have the possibility of hitting your head on some rocks, you really want to have as much protection as possible, especially if you're not wearing full face. So that one's going to be $80 for the adult version, or $80 for the youth version, and $89.
Wait, got it. All right, here's the cut.
Whoa!
So jumpy. Okay, that didn't work very
Jeez.
You all right? Yeah.
God damn, Devin.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna do this better. I'm gonna do this better. I know how to do it. I'm going to share the entire screen. Holy moly. Hang on, here we go. All right. I was playing 2 crash videos at the same time, that's why. All right. Right off his face. So let's use the power of reverse. So yeah, very easily you see just rear wheel kind of went off, slowing it down kind of makes it look terrible. Hand kind of got out there a little bit, but face right into the ground. So one more time at full speed. So happened really quick. I think that's kind of possible on any ride you go on. So something to keep in mind as a possibility. All right, we are back in action. I got to play the crash video, which really stokes me up. But yeah, Mainframe, start there because it's going to have MIPS. MIPS is important. The reason why you want MIPS is what we're trying to do in a crash is delay the impact as much as possible, and that rotational ability of MIPS is going to give you that extra 100,000th of a second, millionth of a second, whatever it may be. But every little bit we can slow down that impact is going to minimize the amount of damage that happens to your brain bouncing off there. You know, it's going to slow down the amount of force going into your, and you know, transferring through your skull and into your brain.
So MIPS it is a very revolutionary technology. There really haven't been any big improvements in helmet technology in the past 20 years. It's just been foam, EPS foam with polycarbonate on top. Pretty simple stuff. But the MIPS liner, it doesn't solve all issues. It doesn't fix the issue with helmets that you can still have some injuries with them, but it certainly reduces your risk of having an injury, and MIPS really does help you out with that.
Yeah, and my thought, if you're trail riding at all, you should be wearing a full face helmet. You know, I don't see any point in wearing a half shell. I mean, we're going to talk about them, but you know, wear a full face helmet. They're comfortable now, so it's worthwhile. But you know, if you're not going to buy into that, whatever. But I mean, you could still take an impact on the side of your head, and if you know, slam a rock with your ear, that's going to really not be fun either. Or like in the video we just watched, you put your chin right into the ground. Like, A, your head's not going to feel good afterwards, but B, you're going to need some dental work. You're going to have some stitches in your lip. Like, That's why, like, and that could happen on any trail. It more so on single track when you're riding around, because there's going to be overgrowth, there's going to be narrower sections. So there's even more reason, even when you're not at Shepherd, where it's machine built to the most part, where there are wider, where the tread's wider. So I mean,
there's really no excuse not to. If you mess up your face and you weren't wearing a full face helmet, that's kind of on you. Modern full face helmets, it's not like a traditional moto helmet like you're used to from an older downhill helmet. It's going to be super lightweight, super vented. It's going to be just like a traditional bicycle helmet. If you have a super lightweight full face helmet with good airflow, you're going to want to ride with it every time. You're going to feel super confident. So for Foxes, the first step into their higher end option, the Speedframe, it's going to be a really good option. It's going to have a little more back protection than the Mainframe.
Grab the Mainframe and show back to back. So I was really impressed by these helmets, and to be honest, like Fox used to have, gosh, do you even the Flux, the Ranger helmet, if you remember these things? So they were not great helmets, and Fox really, I think, dug in deep. I think they got a lot of not great feedback on those helmets. Maybe that was like 5 years ago or so. And then so they really kind of revamped their helmets entirely with these speed frames, with the Mainframe. I didn't want to put another Fox helmet on my head after wearing a Flux. They weren't good looking. They weren't like uncomfortable, but they weren't comfortable either. Like they didn't excite you, or like it didn't feel good to have it on. Anyhow, when the Speedframe Pro came out, like I don't know, it was about 18 months ago, 2 years ago, something like that. It's been out for a bit now. But I couldn't believe how comfortable it was. I mean, it's insane. And where it comes down behind like your occipital bone, it sits really low and kind of hugs the back of your head, which really increases stability without having to crank your helmet down. Because that's going to be the other issue. If you don't have a mountain bike helmet on, chances are, even if it's got the, deal back here, you'll see on like a road helmet, which we don't have any here. But I mean, it's a huge gap from the back of the helmet to where that buckle is to get up under your occipital bone. And that's one place where, I don't know if it's often that you hit the back of your head per se coming off your bike, but you never know. Like you get whipped around. I guess you do hit the back of your head. Yeah, that's true.
It's pretty easy to happen. You just really want to always be prepared.
Yeah.
So of course, with the Speedframe, you're gonna have some really flashy colors to go with it. A customer was just in here earlier talking about how he really liked that his son had this color helmet, so he could see him while racing at enduros, see him out on the trail. For when he gets out in front of him, you can always see where he is. It's always nice to be seen on the trail, whether it's your friends or from other trail users. There's nothing worse than bombing down a run like at Bluff View and seeing a hiker right around the turn that you didn't see. So if you can't see them, it's always nice for them to be able to see you. And of course, if you're riding on the road, it's going to have some nice protection for you, some nice visibility.
Yeah, we always push bright colored helmets for the kids, especially. But wearing bright colored clothing when you're out on the trail and stuff is going to help hikers see you. And if a hiker can see you, what happened? Like if a hiker doesn't see you, you come down bombing down the hill, they don't know you're there. Then everybody gets caught off guard, and everybody's got to kind of slow and stop and kind of get freaked out. If you're wearing bright colored clothing, they will see you coming down the hill, and they will step off the side of the trail. You don't have to slow down. They're already out of the way. You keep riding. So wearing bright colored clothing also helps other people identify that you're coming at them and allows you to have a little bit more fun on your bike.
That's an expert trail tip right there. You don't think about it if you're just hopping on a trail. You don't think about being seen by other trail users, but on multi-use trails out here, it's always a good thing, especially if you're riding a little faster.
Yeah, and we've touched on this before. Fox they'll do like a kind of a more wild color year, and then they'll do a tamer color year. Interestingly enough, this is a tame year. There are some kind of cool wild designs, and we'll see some of the pro frames as well. But yeah, the speed frames, this is their very tame year. So a lot of kind of solid colors. That's why on like the standard speed frame, you'll see the yellows, the blacks, the reds, or atomic, or whatever they want to call the interesting colors, the white. So as we step into next year's, the 2022 speed frames and such, they'll come out with some little bit bolder colors, a little bit crazier stuff. So that'll be fun to see too.
So this is the same color, same size, same everything in the helmet that I use. I really like the Speedframe Pro over the regular Speedframe for a couple of reasons. The first reason is the first thing you notice when you put the helmet on, it's going to use a magnetic fid lock system. Super simple, no snaps. You can put it on and take it on and off using one hand, 2 fingers, even with your gloves on. It's really nice for when you get to the trail and you have your gloves on, you want to get your helmet off.
I particularly like that on full face helmets. Because I don't take my full face helmet off now that I have to wear glasses because I had a brain injury. So I don't take my helmet off very often anymore. But when I used to, I would constantly start going down on the ride and then realizing I didn't buckle my helmet and then stopping and buckling my helmet. So it's nice you can do that when you're going with one hand. It just right together.
Other higher end helmets are also going to have that magnetic fid lock technology. And another cool technology that the higher end helmets are going to have that maybe you can see is the 2 different colors of foam. So what that's going to be is that's going to be Fox's Verizor PPS. So that's going to be a dual density foam. The 2 different densities of foam are going to allow you to have a stiffer foam for a higher speed impact and a softer foam for a lower speed impact. So no matter what you're doing, you're going to have a foam for you. So it can make higher speed impact safer while also increasing slow speed impacts. It makes a much safer overall helmet. That's not to say that the Speedframe and Mainframe are not high quality helmets and they're not protective. They are protective, but this is just going to have a couple more features, a little bit more technology and science behind it to keep you safe on the trail.
Yeah, and this is a stage here showing that foam. So
that's actually my old stage. I cracked in half. Got a bunch of scratches on the top and on the face.
You cracked it perfectly in half. Wow. Yeah, that's neat. Yeah, that is quite the crash footage there, I'm sure.
Yeah, that was on asphalt at the pump track. Landed straight on my head, AC joint, broken radial head. I was out for a couple months. But that helmet honestly saved me the most. If I had hit my face, I would have been dealing with a pretty bad shoulder injury and having a bloody face, spitting out teeth. It would have made that ordeal so much worse.
Yeah, we do 30% crash replacement on all of our full face helmets here. And the difference between $300 helmets and $100 helmets is this right here. It's the dual foam. It's having that kind of softer healing layer of foam that can take multiple impacts. So if you come off your bike and you get tossed down the side of a hill, it doesn't just fillet open, that you still got some protection.
Was not the first crash that helmet had a couple of pretty nasty crashes. I probably should have replaced it, but I didn't see any cracking before the big crash where I injured myself. So you can see it's still pretty intact other than the spot that it did crack in the crash. It actually ended up breaking both layers of foam and the polycarbonate liner. So it went all the way through, but all the energy dissipated and was not transferred to my head. So worked out really well. Super happy with it, really.
I did not shave my face today.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's the really important thing. And that's the difference between the Speedframe Pro, the only one that really matters. I mean, fidlock's nice to have, but is the difference in the actual structure of the helmet. You're just getting the black layer on the Speedframe, and the Speedframe Pro's got that black and the gray layers. So you're going to have better protection in crashes. The helmet's going to just kind of hold up better in general. You're going to see that with all your higher end helmets, and that's the difference between $100 helmets and $300 helmets or $200 half shells. The Speedframe Pro is like $170 ish.
$50 difference, 110
right.
versus 160. So for that $50, if you're even considering it, I mean, you probably already spend a lot of money on mountain biking. So there's one thing to protect.
So spend more. Yeah, spend more. I can tell you that if you don't protect your head, and that if you split your dome open instead of splitting your skull open, that it's way more expensive than the helmet was.
And that's speaking from personal experience.
Yeah.
Some we don't want to have happen to anyone else.
No.
So
I probably, dude, realistically, like if I were to add up actual math on how much money my skull fracture has cost me with insurance, so not actually like not what insurance covers, like not medical bills and all that, like not my deductible, just all the things I have to do that insurance doesn't cover in order to get my brain to work again. I've easily spent 50 grand this year.
And that was going
Easily.
under 5-10 miles an hour, just a super slow speed impact. You really never know when you're going to have one.
No.
You're always going to be prepared with a good helmet for your riding style specifically.
No. And then if you count in the amount of money I've spent because I've messed stuff up because my brain didn't work right for the last year, it's starting to kick back on now. But for the year where it didn't, the insane amount of money I lost on just, I don't even want to put a number to that. It's much higher than the first one.
You just couldn't function like you just couldn't.
Dude, so
Like
crazy.
you try to do something, your brain just
So crazy.
It's no fun.
Yeah, I can't see, I can't smell anything, I can't taste anything. All those things, you could lose any of the, like, I never would have thought when I went to go for a ride that I would not be able to see properly again or smell anything. Or what are the other things I can't do? There's many things I can't, that it senses I do not have any longer.
Here's a couple of guys who have had some pretty nasty injuries telling you don't feel like a really good helmet.
Yeah, so the Dropframe is the kind of last one to run through real fast here. I love the Dropframe. I think it's the coolest helmet in the world. I loved when it came out. I still think a full face makes more sense, but if for whatever reason you have a hang up about having a chin bar, then get the Dropframe. Or if maybe you're going to be on this, like that's what I would wear as a street helmet. Looks good with goggles, perfect for winter time. But that's going to protect the side of your head and your ear and any side impacts. The only thing with that helmet, it's going to fit. It's not going to, like a full face helmet's going to have different pad sets in it to help you kind of adjust to your size. With the Dropframe, it does have different size cheek pads. They don't change it all that much. So you really need to try one on. It's not going to be, it doesn't have a speed dial on the back to adjust the fit of the helmet. It's going to be more like the Proframe is, where it's, you know, one shell size and then different pads. The pads don't do much. So you really need to get into a shop and try that helmet on if you're going to buy it. It fits pretty critical. And I know for me, like I wanted that helmet as my street helmet. And I was right in between sizes. I typically, like moto helmets, I wear medium. My Troy Lee stage is a medium large. Yeah, and so normally I'm mediums kind of across the board on everything. And then Fox, I kind of like the large felt a little tight on me on the Dropframe, and the extra large was way too big. So
I was going to chime in on the Fox sizing chart. So I actually wear two different helmet sizes from Fox. So my Speedframe Pro is a medium, and that fit me the most comfortably. However, if I were to try on a Dropframe, I would wear a large. And for my full face Rampage Pro Carbon, I would also wear a large. So even within the brand, the sizing is going to be a little bit different. And for something as important as a helmet, like if you get a jersey and it's a little baggy or a little tight, sure, it looks a little goofy, but for a helmet, it actually has a big protection factor of how tight it is on your head, how much it's going to move around, and really what it's going to do. So this reiterates the importance of coming into your local shop, trying on some different models, and find what works best for you and your head shape.
yeah, and that being said, there is a ticker at the bottom of this screen that's got our website. These helmets are all listed on our website. We do sell them. We will ship them to anyone. We will not do free returns, though, like you'll see some weird companies do. So if you're looking for a certain color, if we happen, you can look our website. All of our inventory is on stock or available for you to see what's in stock there. You can filter by that, and then we will ship the helmet to you. But, you know, maybe make sure that you're ordering the right size helmet, you know, because it's going to cost you. Shipping a helmet costs, I don't know how.
You'll be buying two
Yeah,
helmets.
shipping a helmet's like $40. Like it's crazy, like true cost. Like when we drop the helmet off at UPS, I think it like typically anywhere in the United States for a full face helmet, it's like $40.
Yeah, it's not cheap. They're big and they really have to be taken care of. All these cool.
So yeah, is that it on helmets? Are you excited about that?
I am very excited about helmets.
The Rampage Youth helmets, that's a Rampage Youth helmet. Show the inside of that because now that we have the light on, people might actually be able to see in it.
It's going to be a bit different. It's going
Dope.
to be more of a downhill helmet. It's not going to be as light or as vented as a modern enduro helmet, but the price point is going to reflect that. It is going to be the entry-level full-face helmet starting right at about $150 for the youth models. We're going to have this in a youth large and a youth medium. We only got 2 of them, so if you're looking for a nice helmet for your youth shredder for Shepherd or Steelville, getting a little airtime, getting a little crazy over rocks, it's a real good option to have on the table.
Yeah, age-wise, I'd say on those youth helmets, though, those are very small helmets. So if your kid's 6 or 7, he's probably not going to fit in one of those. Those helmets, and I mean, some kids have unusually large heads.
It's not uncommon for me to be fitting like an 8 or 9-year-old for a helmet, thinking that they're going to fit a youth-size helmet.
Babe,
and end up wearing the same.
Have you ever seen any babies with gigantic heads, like little kids with gigantic heads?
I run in a family with little heads, so no.
You all have little heads?
I wear an extra small helmet, like always. Like I wear tiny sizes.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You could have taken advantage of our big Troy Lee sale, 40% off.
Yeah, we had 40.
Yeah.
We had 40% off.
I've got a good helmet right now. I'm running one of the Troy Lee ones. Bought it here.
Which one?
You can look it up. You bought it here.
The A2?
I don't remember. It's blue and white.
A lot of helmets are blue and
Does
white.
it look like this, or does it look like this?
Left hand.
Oh, the A2.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, wait.
One?
The A1? The classic. That helmet's been around since like the mid 90s.
I had one of these. I bought it 2 or 3 years ago. Before I was really even into mountain biking, I used it as a road helmet. It was my first high-end helmet, and it really struck me just how comfortable it was and how comfortable the liner was. And when I actually did have to use it, it was actually at a skate park, and I landed on the back of my head. Could not have been more happy that we had the back protection.
Yeah.
Again, no real damage, no big concussion. But if I had not been wearing a helmet or had been wearing a helmet that just stopped right there, it would have been a much different story.
Yeah, dude, the A1 is actually the helmet that made me fall in love with Troy Lee. I bought that helmet online. I happened to guess the right size, which was nice. And then it came, I was like, oh, it's a lot of money. I think at the time, it was probably $139 helmet.
That's about what I paid for mine.
And then,
It was a lot of money. It was the first time I'd really ever spent that much money on a bicycle
Yeah.
helmet. I was a little hesitant just to spend that much money on a helmet because you could get an option for half that price. But after getting more knowledgeable about bikes, wearing some different helmets, and eventually crashing in that helmet, I was super happy that I went with the Nest helmet.
ooh, something important to know. Don't spray bug spray on your helmet, ever. It will destroy the finish and the foam too. I'm sure it's not good for, but it will destroy helmets if you accidentally spray bug spray on. So put bug spray on before you put your helmet on.
Okay, good to know. Another pro trail tip.
Yeah.
Scott, wear bright colors so other people can see you, and then don't spray bug spray on your helmet.
Yeah, bad idea. Sprayed on in your face, sprayed on the back of your head. Just don't ruin your helmet. Yeah, I used to be an exterminator, so I know that. And you're actually not supposed to spray like any bug spray on your skin at all. Like it's like if you read any of them, yeah, like any of the off stuff, it says like do not get on your skin. It's DEET. Like you don't want a bunch of DEET on your skin. So I don't know.
Fun facts. Always learning new stuff around here at the shed.
Spin that camera around and then give us an open shot of here because we have Pape's new at the shop and we'll talk to Pape. Oh yeah, there he is. It's Pape. Hold on. You're out of, oh, there's me. And then Brett's over there in the corner under the sign.
We've got a couple of new faces here. This one might look a little familiar.
That's
So,
Pape. Pape wears a helmet, so that's to protect his identity.
Now, what helmet is that? That's the Cali City.
Yeah.
City.
That's a real cool helmet. It has a built-in visor, so if you're riding at night, you don't get bugs in your eyes. It's a really cool option. Riding at night in the spring, you do want to wear goggles for glasses because you will get bugs in your eye. And if you want to turn around, you can see on the back of the helmet, you can have a little clip here. Comes with a tail light that you can put on there, so you can have a flashing red light on the back of your helmet, so you can be very visible. So since it is the Cali City helmet, it's meant a bit more for urban riding than on the trails. So it's nice to have that extra visibility for other drivers behind you. Always good to have.
Mustache, the whole time we were introducing the Pape and Brett, I had on the big screen was just me. And on the little screen in the corner was them.
Well, that's what really matters.
I flipped it and reversed it now. Now we can see the helmet. Yeah, Cali City is my favorite helmet in the world. That's what I wear if I'm just like longboarding or if I'm doing any street riding. That's actually the helmet I wear. I like the flip down visor. You can put a clear one in there, but that's really nice to have. It's not like super high end plastic on the visor, but you can see through it. Doesn't really distort things too much. But again, now that I have glasses, I don't really use the visor anymore.
What's the price point on the Cali City?
It's like $110, $120. Lifetime warranty, all Cali helmets, which is cool. They come with a lifetime.
Crash replacement.
Yep.
So if you do crash, they will send you a free helmet. With buying an expensive helmet, that is very appealing to not have to spend a couple $100 every couple months, depending on how often you crash. But it's a real cool feature. Cali is a super good brand.
Yeah.
If you're around the dirt jumping BMX scene a couple of years ago, you know just how big they are. Their name is everywhere.
Really.
They're just not like Troy Lee or Fox, just because they focus more on helmets and protection. But it's a really solid brand, and of course they back that up with that crash replacement program. So just gives you another real good incentive to go with Cali.
Where are they from? Florida or something?
I do not know. The name's Cali, so
They're in some part of California. I forgot what part.
Cali, but,
They are cool. They are a smaller company, but like small in the sense of like I don't like think they're like I think they're very at their roots still, or that's like a key component of how their company functions.
definitely a smaller business than like Fox or Troy Lee. They don't kind of have their fingers in pretty much every industry. They just really focus on bike stuff.
Yeah, Cali's cool. A big difference between Cali and like if you were to compare Cali versus Fox/TLD, they use two different fit systems. So I don't know if this is still okay to say or not. I should have made him say this. So there's two different fits. There's like a European fit, which is going to be kind of like narrower on the face profile and longer. Or Cali uses a more of an Asian fit. I don't know if that's appropriate to say still, but it's wider and then like not as deep this way. So you're gonna have two different fit profiles, Asian and European fits. So
That is a kind of a thing with different motorcycle manufacturers.
do they call it European and Asian?
They do not have a specific name for it, but certain brands are known to have a more oval shape, and certain brands are known to have a more circular shape based on your head size and head shape.
Oval and circular. I like that. That does explain it better maybe than the way I explained it.
So that's usually how they go off of it. I have
Well, you know.
a Arai Moto helmet. It's very circular. The Shoei helmets are very oval. It definitely has a different fit, even though they're both super high-end Japanese helmets. They're gonna have a very different fit.
You say a Shoei helmet has an oval fit, like long and narrow. Interesting. I didn't like my Shoei helmet very much. It was heavy.
What was it? RF 1200?
It was it was like a GT Super Air 2 or something. Like, it was like $900 or something.
It's super high-end, super expensive helmet.
It was quiet.
Yeah.
But I didn't ride my motorcycle for it to be quiet. Like, it wasn't on a Goldwing, so I did not like that. I thought that was not cool. You're not on camera, Mustache. I just realized that. We're just staring at Pape.
Well, that's what the people come to see. They don't come to see the
I don't think they
mustaches.
came to see Pape. I think they came to see Mustache. There it is. That's close up of your mustache.
There we go. Now I'm back in camera. Good to see you there. Wait, are we live?
We are live on YouTube. We're almost done. Is there anything else we need? Oh, the Cali City helmet. It's got that flicky. That's why we're looking at Pape. It's got the flicky light on the back, which is actually really awesome. It comes with the helmet, clips on there. It's USB rechargeable. I normally would, like when I was longboarding every day, I would charge it like once a week, and I would maybe ride at night like for 30 minutes on my ride. But that's really cool. And then it also comes with ear muffs, so you can clip in the little ear muffs in there. And that helmet's like $110. We actually sell a lot of those to like e-skaters and stuff. That's probably the place where those kind of go out the most. What's that?
So we can start off our first employee bike check.
Oh no.
We have some pretty goofy bikes here from our employees, and I might as well start it off with one of the goofier ones. We all are into some very unique style of riding here, so we may introduce you to some styles of bikes that you may have never seen before. This is going to be a street trials bike. It's going to have 24-inch wheels, disc brakes, and it's going to be a bit like a BMX bike. It's going to have a super straight steer tube. It's honestly a bit more comfortable on one wheel than two. You look at it, it's pretty goofy, very small chainring, very interesting gear ratio. Can't really go too fast on it. It has a chain tensioner built in, single speed. Pretty cool bike. Gonna have some weird stuff on it. Of course, you like the color.
What's your favorite kind of riding to do, Mustache?
So I like to do stupid stuff. That would be my riding style. I do a lot of dirt jumping. I like doing drones. I'm trying to get better at doing tricks. I can do a couple kind of consistently. I haven't really hurt myself doing them, but we'll just see. We'll just kind of see how it goes. Recently got into some more trail riding. It's pretty fun, but rock kind of throw me for a little bit of a loop. I'm used to the smooth flow trails and just hitting big jumps and stuff like that.
So you are technically a professional rider because you did film a professional mountain biking edit here at the Mountain Bike Shed.
Yeah, you did pay for me to become a professional mountain biker.
Yes.
So,
And you were on the clock at that time, right?
I might have
You were being paid hourly
Mhm.
to ride your mountain bike. So yeah, that makes you a professional. That's interesting. That's all I had on that.
Pretty interesting bike.
Come on.
It's an inspired brand. We do not sell them here, but it's a real cool brand.
What's some other things we should talk about that we don't sell here? Oh, what tires do you run on your dirt jumper?
On my dirt jumper, on the front, I run the same tire on here, a Minion DHF. It gives me a whole lot of front end confidence, although it is kind of slow for what I do. And on the rear, I do run a slick tire on my dirt jumper. It is going to be a Maxxis DTH. Not exactly sure what it stands for, but it's going to be a semi-slick tire. You really don't want to ride downhill or any dirt trails on it. It does not have any braking power. Your back end is just going to lock up and skid all around. But for a pump track, for pumping around and jump lines, it's a real cool way to save some speed rather than having a knobby rear tire.
If you're just bumping around.
Just bumping around.
All right, cool. Well, I think we should probably find out a little bit about Pape, since people are going to have to talk to them when they come to the shop. So let's turn this camera up. We're going to double angle Pape for this conversation. Did you ever do, when you went to high school, were you in like drama or band or anything cool like that?
No, not at all. I played baseball.
You played baseball?
Yeah.
What position did you play in baseball?
I was a shortstop.
I don't know if anybody can hear you because I'm standing far away from you. So I just kind of screwed us. Now that we have two cameras on, then I have to stand with you so you can hear me.
No, I was a shortstop when playing baseball.
Oh,
in high
Mustache.
school.
Give Pape your mic. That's smart. That way I don't have to stand next to him and talk to him, because I don't want to do that. When we're short on time, so we have to really get into your backstory super fast.
A dramatic backstory.
This is quite the production. I'm really working it today. Yeah, back and forth. And Brett will talk to on a different day. we'll get permission from him first.
So he's into some different type of biking that you may not have heard of. He plays a game on bikes, and he'll tell you a little bit about it at a later date.
Yeah. All right, let me get my camera set up. So we've got 10 minutes to investigate everything about Pape. This is probably what I should have been doing before we hired him, but we'll figure it out now. All right, Pape. How long you been riding mountain bikes?
About 3 years, give or take.
3 years. Where have you been doing most of your riding at?
So I spent most of the first year or so just doing laps around like Lost Valley and Madison. And that's where I was.
St. Charles.
Yeah, St. Charles.
St. Charles, which is like St. Louis's like cousin. Like I don't know how would you explain St. Charles?
St. Charles people would say St. Louis is their friend, and St. Louis people would not say that St. Charles is their friend.
So, well, Mustache, can I repeat what you just said? Okay, so Mustache said that people from St. Charles would say that St. Louis is their friend. People from St. Louis would not say the same about St. Charles. I agree. I think that's correct.
Nothing wrong about St. Charles.
No, they have
they got a really cool pump track there. But
yeah, and the people there are nice. So it's not even that.
it's just kind of the city county thing. Chicago has a little bit of the same deal going on, but Chicago's a bit.
St. Charles has like a really cool parks department too that like really cares about mountain biking, and they just built that flow trail at Matson.
Yeah.
Klondike's one of my favorite parks.
Yeah, they really do.
Why are we? You're not on mic anymore, which is a problem. I could probably just turn it. I don't want to go to the stream cam. I don't know. I'm going to turn on the stream cam mic. Yeah, Dean. I need to be able to. I think we can hear everybody if we do that. I don't.
Brett gets to pull up in his full polo outfit next time.
All right, stream cam mic.
The gloves.
Oh, I gotta get the production gear out of here. All right. So, what were we just talking about? Oh, St. Charles. How nobody likes it.
They really do a lot of really
So
good
much
things for the biking community. St. Charles County Trails. There's so many different trail systems. Lost Valley, Matson.
You know what?
Pump track.
I think what I just realized was because like you think about it, all the people that come over from St. Charles are some of the coolest people. Like they're always really awesome and stuff. It's the highways. Their highways are all goofed up over there.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
That's why we don't like it. We're used to like we've got our highways and they're very specific. Like 270 goes around St. Louis, and then you got 44, 55, and they all kind of cut it like a piece of pie. It all makes sense. Most of our roads, like 141, kind of makes same thing as 270. Everything's very kind of uniform. In St. Charles, it's like you stepped into a different world.
Sometimes you don't know if the lane you're in is going to keep you on the highway.
That's why we don't like it.
Okay.
That makes sense. Because they got cool trails, all kinds of great outdoor stuff to do over there. They've obviously got the KD Trail. And then, yeah, everybody comes over from St. Charles here to ride. It's always awesome, super cool. It's very interesting. It's the roads. You don't want to drive over there. So anybody in St. Louis, just stay in St. Louis. Yeah, you don't need that stress. All right, Pape. So you started riding out in St. Charles. You live in St. Charles?
I live in St. Peters.
So yes,
Basically St. Charles.
this is why we don't like St. Charles.
It's the same. Well, I moved from St. Charles to St. Louis. Now I live in St. Louis.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Do you live in St. Charles? No, I live in O'Fallon. I understand. I get it. And St. Louis is very much like that too. We're like super against like each city's like in competition with each other.
I live in Lemay, and if you call it South City versus South County, a lot of people get very mad. It's just right on the line. Not even close to the line. What are you talking about? The city county border, right there.
All right. So you live in I should know this. I did not know that about you. That you're from St. Peters, which is part of St. Charles County.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're in St. Charles. All right. So you started riding out there. That's where you ride mostly, then I would assume.
Used to.
Used to. Where do you ride now? Here.
Now the stuff in Eureka.
Come up this way. You can stay right there.
Yeah. Now I'm riding the stuff in Eureka.
Because you're here.
Yeah, I'm here now.
Right.
It's about a half-hour drive.
It's a really pretty drive, though. Which way do you? Never mind. I'm not going to ask all those questions on a live
It's
stream.
just straight down 44, though. That's all it is.
Oh, you do 44.
Yeah,
So I like to go the
44.
back way. I like to go out 109 to go to.
That would be really far for me.
Where you're in St. Peter's?
St. Louis now. I live in St. Louis now.
Oh, you live.
I used to live-
Oh,
I used to
okay.
live
It's like
here.
right next to me.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, it
See, yeah,
used to be-
this is why that was news to me because I was
Yeah.
like, did I really hire a guy from St. Charles?
And Brett's just sitting here like,
Are you from St. Charles? Oh, no.
oh, I grew up in Ohio.
Oh, no. He's like, no, not St. Charles. St. Peter's. Is there any other ones I should be aware of in St. Charles? There's Wentzville. Yeah, that's definitely like,
That's
ooh.
different.
You don't want to say, I think that's probably offensive if I, to St. Charles people, that if I say that Wentzville is St. Charles, right?
It might be.
How do you feel about
St.
Wentzville?
Charles- Wentzville isn't part of like St. Charles.
Okay.
It's just,
All
like,
right,
different.
all right. Wow. That was, all right,
Like,
moving
not in a
on.
bad way. It's just not the same.
Okay, man.
St. Charles County, though.
I guess
Is it Wentzville, St. Charles County still?
So last municipality.
I don't get it. Yeah, I mean, we're in St. Louis County still. A lot of people don't.
Jeff County is right now.
Which Jefferson and Franklin for illegal substances that they create in like bathtubs and like under trailers or something. I don't know how they do that, but
I think that's in Missouri.
is that's St. Charles too, though? Doesn't
St. Charles.
well, there's just a lot of property out in St. Charles. I feel like people could do a lot of things wrong out there if they wanted to. But anyhow, so you grew up in St. Charles, you don't live there anymore.
Yes.
Cool.
He's got a house next to the dirt jumps where he's supposed to be living.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. What kind of bike do you ride?
So right now, I talk about a current bike.
Yeah.
I ride an SB140, built it myself, and that's all I'm gonna ride for a while because that was expensive.
Right. And when did you build that up?
3 months ago.
3 months
I
ago.
think about 3 months ago.
So you
Nice.
said that when you're doing the build, you're still having some issues getting the parts you wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. So like group set, I had to throw a bunch of old parts on my group set. So I have like an NX crank, SLX shifter, and derailleur, and then D13 cassette. So it's just whatever I can find, and
How's that shift?
pretty well. It does pretty well.
Really?
You'd be surprised.
All right, cool.
I don't know what it is, but it works.
What bike did you have before? Come this way a little bit. Come this way. Sit on, yeah, right there. That's good. I'm just trying to get you closer to the mic because I don't know how well it's picking anybody but me up.
I gave him my
Yeah. Yep. Is it not working?
Oh, I changed us to the stream cam.
Oh,
Yeah, we're not actually using the mics anymore. We were all talking, so I figured that was a bad idea. What bike right before SB?
Yeah. So I rode a King Spectral.
Spectral.
SB. So,
yeah, you told me a funny story about that one.
yeah, so I was at a zombie. I landed sideways on one of the jumps, and it didn't like it, and it just snapped right at the lower pivot.
Yeah, bikes typically don't like when you land them sideways.
Especially full suspension bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody loves to throw steezy whips. I don't know what kids call it. I can't whip it, but
Anyone can throw a fat whip, but very few people can get the whip back.
right. That's the trick.
Yeah.
Interesting. I can't do either.
I
So
can get it sideways, can't get it straight.
okay, so do it on a hardtail if you're going to do that, and just
I only have hardtails for that reason.
yeah, because you will if you land full suspension bike sideways, especially like if you like maybe if you have like a slope style bike or something, it would be fine. But like if you have just like a yeah.
Still not.
Right. And especially if you have a trail bike and you're like every jump or drop you go off of, you're like throwing a whip a little bit
There's
and then landing sideways,
kids I can think of
you're going to
that-
crack your rockers. It's just not going to be good for your suspension at all.
It's not good for the shock itself. You're putting a side load on the shock.
That
You have
too.
A lot of wear on the stanchion.
Yeah.
This is a lot of wear inside. It'll mess up your linkage bearings. Going to be a lot more service, and it could just crack an entire part of your frame.
Yeah. And we're going to, we have to end this stream, and we'll end this stream on that note that you're not a if you're not a pro rider and people aren't giving you 6 frames a year, stop landing your bike sideways unless you just want to spend. It's not warranty if you land your bike sideways and crack your rockers. Will companies warranty it? Maybe.
Depends on like if the riders if the guys who
You could tell me whatever. If your rocker's cracked, I'm not going to think that that's a manufactured. You know what I mean? Like, no one's going to think that's like, they know that you landed sideways. But even knowing that some companies are, some brands will sometimes take care of things for customers, even in those situations, or at least help.
But whoever's working the bike shop's definitely going to know. Like, you can't just say you're riding along. We're going to look at you and be like,
Yep.
you're throwing fat lips and Lincoln sack.
All right, now that we've cracked on St. Charles people, we do love people from St. Charles, I think is what we just don't like their roads. And it's exactly why Pape doesn't drive from the city through St. Charles to come here. Because if the roads are right, he would do that. But they're not.